just behind them as we head into turn number one. Something of a pinch point. Max Micheli trying to make a move early on. Very, very good start, I believe, as we go through turn number one right now. Pushes himself through into V2 because he's got the inside line. He's world champion, Finali Mondiali champion.
This is Imola. This is the World Finals here to cap off the 2024 season of Ferrari racing activities, including the Ferrari Challenge, but lots of other things going on. This is Imola in the sunshine, but that is not what we have here. And it has subsided in terms of rain, it has to be said, but it is still very, very dark. And this is the track on which we would hope to do qualifying for Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli M. Unfortunately, the weather is nothing like conducive to racing or qualifying at this moment. Really been a week of lots of rainfall. It was only yesterday that we had some sunshine, and other than that, it has been like this all week. There you can see the weather. 17 degrees air temperature, the track 18 degrees, humidity 98%, wind 16 kilometers per hour, rain percentage 100%. And it has been like this all morning. And actually 20 minutes ago, well, until 10 minutes ago actually, it had been coming down as if the buckets had been emptied over Imola. But that's what we have to contend with. Tomorrow, we will have the climax of this week, and it will take place on the track. But not only on the track, there will be a parade from the city center, from the Piazza Antonio Gramsci, all the way towards the track, alongside the Viale Dante Alighieri, straight towards the river, over the bridge and into the paddock and onto the track here at Imola. This is going to be the parade. Join us when tomorrow we will have the parade and the Ferrari show. You should have a qualifying session here on track for Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli M. As we said, it has been coming down so hard that the previous sessions were red flagged a number of times. Copper Shell, the previous qualifying, didn't even finish at its regular time. It was abandoned before it could continue or finish, simply because the rain was too significant and no real hope for betterment in any significant time frame. Now we have the indication that the session might start, to be confirmed in about 11 minutes from now. We will be back with more news when and if we get it. Hopefully the big session, the Super Pole, should start at 4 p.m. So in about 1 minute, 40 minutes time. Let's hope we can get it underway, but that would presuppose a Trofeo Pirelli qualifying having taken place. So 10 minutes from now, roughly, we will hear more. And yeah, stay tuned and thanks for watching.
quindi in questo momento pronti ad intervenire. Ovviamente l'ultimo aggiornamento, ovviamente l'orario è da confermare, è per lo start alle 14:40. Vi darò aggiornamenti qualora ci siano aggiornamenti in caso di variazione di questo orario. partenza della gara di finale mondiale. Ripeto, è forse al momento la disputa della Super Bowl, nel senso che si sta valutando in base anche all'andamento del meteo della giornata come gestire l'eventuale sessione di Super Bowl nel pomeriggio. Quindi questa è la valutazione generale e in questo momento si sta valutando la condizione della pista per confermare, ripeto, tra 5 minuti è prevista l'apertura della corsia box per le prove ufficiali, se confermare questa apertura e quindi l'inizio delle prove ufficiali. Trofeo Pirelli e Pirelli.
Hello everyone, and this is Imola, and we are ahead of Finali Mondiali qualifying for our Trofeo Pirelli drivers, be they Pirelli or Pirelli AM drivers. All the championships are done and dusted. Now it is just qualifying for our one-off race, the World Final race, which will be tomorrow, and we're looking at Dylan Medler, who is the Trofeo Pirelli champion for 2024 in North America. Fine job done by Dylan Medler. There we can see the Danilo Del Favaro car, if I am not mistaken. And Danilo Del Favaro for Penske Sportwagen Hamburg.
Well said.
Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you.
Welcome this afternoon to another edition of the Ferrari Challenge in the rain, which has been a little bit of a theme this week, it has to be said, with the exception of yesterday. There is the David Ghostner car, one of our Trofeo Pirelli M drivers. You can identify them with a white sunstrip in the windscreen. Sunstrip really being essential here.
Inopportune time to mention it, if I may say.
Indeed. A rain strip, although I don't think it helps that much. That's why you have the windscreen wipers. We are underway 25 minutes, and how does it work?
Okay, so our drivers in the Pirelli and Pirelli Am, they're effectively, whether they're a Pirelli or a Pirelli Am driver, they're qualifying as one, because we are setting the grid for our Finali Mondiali race, the world final race, which will take place tomorrow. And it's a non-championship race, but it is a very important race, and is one that holds a great deal of reverence for all our competitors, including our Trofeo Pirelli Am champion in Europe, Klaus Sebranson, who we ride on board with right now for Formula Racing.
Indeed, it's a long pit lane here, and as you can just tell, it's not straight at all.
Bent.
It's absolutely bent, has a kink. There, obviously, speed limit inside the pit lane, as you can see on the right-hand side, is no longer applies at this stage. You can't go over the white line, otherwise you are in trouble. Only when it ends right here is you are allowed to exploit the width of the track.
I'm sorry, the reason for my jest is you mentioning the white line that is obviously for safety reasons put there on the exit of the pit lane. I think you will remember the same as me of not necessarily in this, but of a driver that got a drive-through penalty, then crossed the white line and got another drive-through penalty. And then, lo and behold, when he served his drive-through penalty, he crossed the white line again and the exit of the pit lane and picked up another one. Sorry. There are so many anecdotes I could bring you about motor racing, and some of the more curious and humorous anecdotes. What I can say today is that Klaus Sebranson is going to try and master what are the, forgive the pun, challenging conditions out there. I have to say, we have had incessant rain, and you can see quite a lot of standing water around. The intensity of the rain has reduced significantly, but it is still very much a horrible, damp track out there, where it's as much the grip, but even more so, in my opinion, as we look at Roberto Perina, it's even more the visibility, Nico. If you're following a car, the spray that comes off the car ahead, you know, really does diminish what you can see, and it's like driving through fog, drivers tell me.
Yeah, definitely, and we've said it before, and we've seen it in one of the earlier sessions, that it not only compromises visibility for those coming up on another car, it also compromises visibility for those who are maybe not on a flying lap, who just want to get out of the way of someone else who's coming up, but they sometimes can't even see them because of the spray. I think, in fairness, it's not as bad as it was. As we have a look.
Kim Eriksson, isn't it?
Kim Eriksson, who is going relatively slow. I don't know. Doesn't look like that's intentional, but we will surely find out. He's certainly keeping respectfully out of the way of everybody else who is coming up. So, as you said, it has been pouring down with rain, and we have still got a lot of standing water, especially like here in the Acqua Minerale, where it obviously follows physics and goes to a lower point of the track. And you've got some rivers crossing the track, which, when you run over them at full speed, it's bad enough. When it happens in a braking zone, totally different story. So we expect that water to dissipate slowly but steadily, allowing the drivers to be a little bit more aggressive towards the end of the remaining 21 minutes, and thus lap times coming quicker and quicker and quicker, and being really quick by wet standards towards the end of the session. However, we've seen it before. The rain has come back on some of the sessions.
With a vengeance.
With a vengeance, and that meant no more quick times were possible. So it's essential to put in a banker. It's also essential to be there when it counts towards the end, or when we think it will count. 2 minutes and 8:88 after the dot is what Robert Perina put on the board, and that's the quickest thus far.
Roberto Perina then, who was bested to the North America Trofeo Pirelli Championship by Dylan Medler, who we've already seen out there on track. It's Klaus Sabranson that we ride with right now, and Klaus Sabranson is on a hot lap. Hot insofar as it can be, and that could be compromised by the traffic he's coming up against. You can see the blue light flashing. Now that's to warn other drivers that a car is approaching very, very quickly. As we've said on a number of occasions before, Nico, you just can't make your car disappear into thin air. They try and keep off the racing line, but will that have compromised Klaus Sabranson's final sector? I really rather suspect it will have done. Indeed so. You can see Sector 3 was coloured dark grey. So currently it's Roberto Perina from Giacomo Altoe. Brian Cook, who is our champion in Trofeo Pirelli Am for North America, has gone third fastest, and our Trofeo Pirelli Am champion for Europe, Klaus Sabranson, is fifth fastest at the moment. You can see the top 6 places on the left-hand side of your screen bracketed with a super pole. The reason for that is that scheduled are super pole sessions for the top 6 of each of the categories of the Ferrari Challenge to go out and in a short 10-minute session to ascertain who is going to gain pole position. So the drivers that qualify from P7 down, that's where they will be starting, but the 6 top drivers that qualify for the Super Pole have another chance, if you will, at going for that P1 position for the Finali Mondiali race. That is assuming the weather not worsening.
Absolutely, and that is going to be a very sharp one as Robert Perina goes into P2, as Giacomo Altoe has put in the quickest time, a 1:57.445. It's going to be very quick and sharp qualifying Super Pole session. 10 minutes only is what they put on the clock, and by the time you've completed your outlap, there is maybe 8 or so of them remaining. So yeah, you can tell that's only going to give you maybe 3, possibly 4 quick laps, but that's the absolute maximum that you're going to get.
And that's if all the ducks are lined up in the right place. Yeah. Ducks being perhaps a poetic descriptor.
Waterfowl, certainly, yeah. An apt analogy. Philip Barron, who has been champion in the Ferrari Challenge a number of times, has mostly executed team management roles over the last few years, but has come back to the challenge with a vengeance and lots of success, and he is certainly one to reckon with. He knows everything about these conditions and many others, and we still remember a race in Valencia where it was raining so hard that actually he, who was the reigning champion, lost it on aquaplaning on the straight. There was so much water, and similar conditions here today and this week. So he knows.
It was there where 2 broadcasters were seen absconding with a with an outdoor catering umbrella, which was liberated from the and used to get us back to our offices.
I'm not sure. What are the statute of limitations in Spain? I'll have to check that before answering. Right. Axel
Sartingen, he's on a mission. Look, Sector 1 and Sector 2 are both coloured purple, Nico.
Yeah, he was our Shell champion in 2023 and therefore has been elevated to Trofeo Pirelli Am, mixing it up with the Pirelli drivers.
Hasn't done a full campaign, has he, this year?
Hasn't done a full campaign and has found the competition more stiff, but as he says himself, really relishes it, really relishes the challenges and the battles that he has, and obviously for him, this last race is a chance to make his mark and maybe get onto a podium at the end of the year. So P4 for the time being. He is approaching the timing line, a 1:54 by Giacomo Altoe. He's not got a better, but he's P2 in class, and that is currently P8 overall.
Yes, well done. Now, P8 overall would not let him be in the Super Pole competition. But it is just possible that one of our Pirelli Am drivers will make it into Super Pole. Let's wait and see. Will David Gostner be one? It's a possibility because Sector 1 and Sector 2 both coloured purple. He's got Philip Barron up his trumpet. And if anyone's going to push you, metaphorically, Philip Barron would be the man to be doing it. So there is David Gostner, the Pirelli Am driver and a member of the Gostner contingent family of whom we're delighted so many of them are racing in the Ferrari Challenge. Other drivers have gone quicker than David now, hence his times becoming blue rather than purple, but it's enough for second in class. So well done to David Gostner. The order is Altoe, Baron, Valent, Perina, Luigi Coluccio and Max Mugelli. They are the top 6, and those drivers would be eligible for Super Pole if it all stopped right now. But we hope it won't. We hope it will continue for the 14 3/4 minutes that are remaining.
Indeed, as we take a look at the number 4 car, and that is Andrew Morrow, who also very, very good trajectory. Already in a decent position in P8 overall, but he wants to move up the order, and by virtue of his first 2 sectors having been more than respectable, there is a very good chance he can do that. Lots of shaking up, as you can follow on the left-hand side of the screen, with drivers jumping up the order bit by bit. We can tell you from our timing screen that pretty much everybody is doing at least personal bests.
Yes.
So as we predicted, drivers are getting more and more aggressive, and the track is coming to them.
And dare I say, braver.
Of course.
Here comes Andrew Morrow then, the Charleshurst driver, who's raced not only in Europe but in the UK as well this year, and he goes second fastest in class. So just behind Klaus Sebranson. Dylan Medler has put it P2 in our Trofeo Pirelli drivers. And Dylan Medler then just bested by 6/10 or thereabouts by this man, Giacomo Altoe, who Nico is currently P1, and he's set a time of 1:54.766. Only 2 drivers in the 54s, and they are Giacomo Altoe and Dylan Medler, the very drivers that I was just talking about.
Indeed, there is Giacomo Altoe, and you can tell that his lap was compromised by dint of the traffic in front of him. Another driver who's trying to get into the mix and who's going to finish his lap fairly soon is going to be Luca Ludwig, one of the very quick drivers from the Trofeo Pirelli in Europe. Hasn't set a meaningful time yet, but he's going to try and rectify that in a moment. Henrik Viol, our best of the M drivers as things stand, has vaulted up all the way into P3, and as things stand now would be part of the Super Pole. We don't rearrange the drivers by category. They will line up on the grid however they finish, of course, now and later on. So Henrik Viol, even though an M driver, would dearly love to be in the top 3, and Hanno Laskowski out as Luka Ludwig just made it onto the top of the timing chart just before that.
And this is how Hanno Laskowski just got called out. And it's so easy just to run a little bit wide, and once you're on the paint and the grip subsides even more, and unfortunately Hanno Laskowski, probably if he'd have engaged reverse at that point, it's very, very difficult situation and circumstances. Hanno Laskowski is in the gravel, and Nico, that brings out the red flag on this session, which I don't think either of us are surprised that at the minute something like that happens, you know, from a safety perspective, you've got to stop the session, Nico, because it's just too dangerous to continue. At that point, we had Luca Ludwig, who just, as you say, just did it by some tenths over Giacomo Altoe, very nearly 6/10 quicker. Oh, we can see another car stopped out on track as well. Luca Ludwig, Giacomo Altoe, Dylan Medler, and then Hendrik Viol, who's mixed it up with the Pirelli drivers and puts himself into the Super Pole contest by dint of his P4. Then it's Roberto Perina, P5, and Philip Barron, P6. So the clock was stopped with 12 minutes remaining on the clock for this qualifying session for our Trofeo Pirelli drivers, as the Klaus Sebranson car is pushed back into the garage for the moment, or just towards the garage. I don't think it will be a long time suspended. That's the other car that was stopped out on track, David Akabadze, the Scuderia Monte Carlo driver. Here's Hendrik Viol that we're on board with right now. What a great job he did, Nico, because he's mixing it with the Trofeo Pirelli drivers in terms of pace, and has put it P4 overall. P1 in class, but P4 with 4 Pirelli drivers behind him in terms of time. So a great showing from the Scuderia Praha driver, Hendrik Viol.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen he is arguably the quickest driver in the AMS this weekend. He has been very successful already, has effectively taken pole position and 2 race wins, by my reckoning.
Yeah, I think you're right.
In the final 2 races of Europe. And Klaus Brunson still clinched the championship on the first race, but mostly because he had done most of the hard work previously and had to just finish in P4 on Thursday to get over the line. But when you talk about a 1 race dash for cash and for the trophy, Hendrik Viol certainly looked like the quickest from our European competitors. But let's not forget our competitors from North America, who obviously thus far they have raced in a separate category.
And we have 2 of those in the Super Bowl contest at the moment in the shape of Dylan Medler and Roberto Perina. So they've done very well.
Although you could argue that Dylan Medler kind of counts. He is starting with a North American number. However, he has competed in the entire campaign in Europe. So, yeah, but let's give him to North America. Fair play. Obviously, that's where he hails from, and that's where for whom he starts on the entry list for the collection.
And Ferrari of Miami. So there is Dylan, parked up in the pit lane. We await news with regards to the progress of the recovery of both the David Akabadze car and also the Hanna Laskowski car. So Giacomo Altoe then, for the moment, doesn't sit atop the qualifying. It is Luca Ludwig who has bested him, and it has to be said, Nico, Luca has had a torrid weekend.
Yeah, it's fair to say. Yeah, it's really fair to say. And he has had some very high highs and some great overtakes, but all in all, I think if he reflects on the season where we are now, there are a lot of lows, and he's been really unfortunate with some incidents where minor touches with other cars have compromised his race. Yeah, it's just not gone his way. But this weekend, as we just said, there is 1 race where it's only about 1 race, and if he starts on pole, and especially in these conditions, which he's absolutely used from racing on the Nürburgring Nordschleife, where it's effectively always like this, at least it feels like
hard
it.
to overtake,
Yeah,
wouldn't he?
he's certainly not a stranger to these kind of conditions. 12 minutes, 11 seconds remain once we get going again, and I dare say it shouldn't be all that long anymore.
There are some drivers that we've not seen the meaningful lap times from that we would expect to see. They've just not been able to put a lap together yet. Matias Perez-Companc is one of them. Another one is Jason McCarthy, and there's some drivers who've not shown a lap yet, and they include Ofer Levy, Chris Gagnazzi, and Cyril Choksi. So, if every driver was out there, it would be, well, it's busy enough as it is, with some 32 drivers that have shown a lap. There's 3 drivers that have not yet, which would mean that would be 35 cars out there on track, and we are exactly 2 minutes away from the session restarting. You'll see that graphic on your screen any moment now. The session will restart at 1500.
Indeed, and the anticipation is building. 12 minutes sounds like really a lot when a lap is about 1 minute 54 seconds, but by the time you've made your installation lap, you have visibility, you're familiar with the track conditions, which obviously change in the wet conditions very quickly with rain falling and no cars running over it. So those 12 minutes really tick away more quickly than the drivers will hope, and we would think, as we look at the Sebastian Mascaro car of Ferrari of Central Florida. Or actually the driver itself, even though he's quite hidden in the darkness.
Armin Arifport, big thumbs up from Armin. And where is he sitting at the moment? P21 in class. He'll be hoping for a better lap in just under a minute's time when we go back to qualifying again. And there is Hendrik Viol, Scuderia Praha driver, and is currently 4th fastest overall. By some measure is the quickest of the Pirelli AM drivers, and yeah, 2nd in the Pirelli AM Drivers' Championship for 2024 in Europe. So cars making their way down the pit lane then, ready to be released in exactly 20 seconds from now. Giacomo Altoe, one of those, awaiting the all clear from his pit crew to join the hot lane of the pit lane. And there you can see the crew from the Dylan Medler car from the collection Ferrari of Miami. Pit lane is open right now and the cars make their way out, and for everyone other than the first driver out there, visibility is going to be very difficult indeed, because the spray will come off of all the cars that follow. It's only the front driver who's got the privilege, if you like, Nico, of very nearly a lap with no visibility issues.
And that's why you can see that Ben Valent is trying and actually does move up the order.
It well, yeah.
Almost a little bit of like a race, because that's the position that he wants. The other approach to this, given that we still have 12 minutes, is to just let the first pack of cars move up the road, and I think that's, for example, was the team of Giacomo Altoe was trying to do, just hold him a little bit longer, let them move 20-25 seconds up the road and then go out. Obviously, once you hit the track and once you've done your installation lap, it's effectively impossible to predict who will be where at that point and where traffic will develop. So effectively, you have to see after it or at the end of your installation lap how and when you start pushing. And there is Klaus Brunson, champion in Trofeo Pirelli for Europe. Currently P4 in class, P12 overall, but as you said, he's 8 spots behind Henrik Viol on the virtual starting grid. And that would still put him in the running for a good position, but it would put him quite at a disadvantage if he wants to also add the world title to his collection of wins this year.
And I can't help but feel that as we watch Klaus Branson hard at work inside the car, and we've got this beautiful shot where we can see the dashboard on the right-hand side of your picture as well. He drops it down to 4th gear, paddle shift, of course, being used, and up to 5th now. I just wonder whether Henrik Viol's motivation is the fact, okay, I've given it my best shot and I've come 2nd in the championship. However, I could take the Finali Mondiali title. Now, it would be a big ask, truthfully, because he's up against some Pirelli drivers, but he has been quick all weekend long, Nico.
For sure, and obviously at the end of the race tomorrow, there will be separate awards for the Pirelli and the Pirelli M, so he would, I mean, you know, as a Pirelli M driver, you can only imagine what the joy would be to beat the Pirelli drivers and get on pole position overall. And it has happened in the past. It's rare, but it has happened that we had an M driver first overall. But his main motivation will be on the top, to be on the top step of the podium come the end of the race tomorrow. And any Pirelli driver between him and the next competitor is a bonus.
Ben Valent is looking very quick. His sector 1 time, which I appreciate is a small sector here at the Imola circuit, was quicker than anyone I seem to recall. Let's see what he can do through sector 2. So Ben Valent then, well, is very nearly 6/10ths down, Nico. So proving that the track is coming to these drivers now with just under 9 minutes remaining. Those that have gone out and put a banker in, they were wise to do that, but the track is evolving, Nico. Luca Ludwig posted a 154.177. That will be Ben Valent's target, to better a 154.177. His cumulative time looked good. Is he on target to be able to do that? Well, we will find out in around about 15 seconds' time. He has the Luca Ludwig car ahead of him, I believe. Luca is a quick driver, and he certainly won't impede Ben Valent, because he's building speed now to go for another lap himself. But here comes Ben Valent, who is P7 and crosses the timing line and goes from P7 to P2. He lost a couple of tenths in the final sector, but it's a good P2 for Ben Valent.
Yes, absolutely. We still expect the times to come down, but you never know what's going to happen. Max Mugelli, another of our Pirelli drivers, only P8 in class, so he's still got work to do. And we saw Luca Ludwig go for a quick one. Giacomo Altoe already is in a quick one. So is Dylan Medler. So is Roberto Perina. Now that the drivers have re-established themselves after the red flag, expect the times to come down and the order on the left-hand side to move up and down all over the place again. The 355 car.
Roberto Perina is looking good here, Nico. Sector 1, purple. Sector 2, purple. I don't think where he's positioned on track is disadvantageous for him. Don't see big traffic in his way, so Roberto Perina could have a good run to the line here. Still got several corners to do. Matthias Perez Compact for North America goes third fastest. So it's Luca Ludwig, Benz Valent, Matthias Perez Compact, Giacomo Altoe, Marco Zanassi, Dylan Medler, Hendrik Viol and Roberto Perina is currently 8th fastest. Therefore, he is not in the Super Pole shootout yet. He needs to go quicker. He has gone quicker. Sector 1, Sector 2 have turned purple, have turned blue from purple. So will this be enough to put him in there? Yes, it will. P5, Nico, for Roberto Perina.
Indeed, and you mentioned it in passing. Marco Zanassi has overtaken Hendrik Viol. Daniel Del Favaro has also moved up the order. Now Hendrik Viol responds and is back into P2 overall. Philip Barron, he is only down in P13 for the time being, so he needs to move, and he is moving. He's approaching Rivazza 1, Rivazza 2. I don't know how many times in his life he has taken that combination. 5 or 6 times, I guess. And he knows exactly how to position the car, and now full throttle towards the timing line. 1:52.072, that's the time posted by Giacomo Altoe. He misses that, but he's among the top 6 for the time being. 5 minutes, 40 seconds remaining.
So it's Altoe, Ludwig, Viol, Medler, Barron, Valent, the top 6 currently. So a mix of not only Pirelli, but Pirelli AM drivers, not only European drivers, North American driver as well, which is how we like it, really mixing the order up, Nico.
Yeah, Luca Ludwig came within the whisker of Giacomo Altoe, only 32 1,000ths. Now remember, it doesn't matter where you finish in the top 6 in this session, theoretically, but you have to finish in those top 6, and with times becoming quicker, you can't rest on your laurels or on your split times or at all. Luca Ludwig with another 2 purple sectors over the curbs, following Hendrik Viol down the hill. Not gonna impede him. There is pride in being P1 in this session,
of course.
And there is the banker if for some reason the Super Pole, like weather, which is a possibility today, can't run,
yes,
then we take the top 6 also from this session, so there is a benefit in having that. But first of all, it's about being in the top 6. Luca Ludwig is P2, he wants to be P1. Can he do it? He overtakes the Aminarev Por car, I believe, and makes it to the line. Did that hinder him? Maybe. Did it hinder him enough? No, it didn't. P1.
2/10 quicker. Well done, Luca Ludwig. Top German driver who, yes, has experience of not only being able to pedal a car very successfully, but pedal it in all weather conditions as well. Here is James Owen, the Meridian Modena Engstler driver. James Owen, currently 12th in class. He has been quick all weekend long, has James Owen. And he runs through that river then on the exit of Rivazza 2, and we'll head towards the timing line now. This is going to be an improvement for James Owen, who is P12 currently in class, and he moves up 4 places. Good showing from James Owen. The order is Luca Ludwig, Giacomo Altoe, Hendrik Viol, Dylan Medler, Philip Barron, Benz Valent, Matthias Perez Compact and Roberto Perina have both been knocked out of the Super Pole category. Roberto Perina trying to respond now. Personal best through Sector 1 and Sector 2. You don't need every sector to be purple for it to be an overall improvement. So Roberto Perina, the back end of the car, steps out as he gives it everything he can, and he is on the utter limits of bravery and adhesion. As with just under 3 minutes remaining, Roberto Perina heads towards the safety of the start-finish line and delivers a time that does not improve.
Meanwhile, Luca Ludwig's top time was just announced that it will be deleted. I think his second best time was good enough that he won't drop out of the top 6, but we don't quite know. Obviously, he still has time to respond, but that could change the dynamic of those last few minutes. Marco Zanazzi, he was the man of the race yesterday with an incredible climb, 12 spot improvement, P3 in class for the moment. Not good enough to make it to the Super Pole, but very, very good. Still a good basis to enter the race if it stays like that. But again, he still has a chance to improve.
Here comes Hendrik Viol. Now, he is in the Super Pole contest if everything were to stop now. He is clearly dissatisfied with where he is. So he is going again. He's 5th fastest of every driver out there, which is a remarkable achievement for a driver that is a Pirelli Am driver, Hendrik Viol. Scuderia Prague Racing. Sector 1, purple. Over the curbs. Dab of the brakes. Climb uphill. Millimetrically perfect with all 2 sectors coloured purple for Hendrik Viol. Absolutely flying around this really rather damp Imola circuit. Hendrik Viol is on a mission. We run the telemetry to the right-hand side of the screen for you to enjoy. 5th gear, make that 6th gear now. 230 kilometers per hour before braking downhill. Hard, heavy braking zone. Back on the gas, full chat flat until you lift again for Ravazza 2. And now it's a chase all the way to the line. 4th gear, 5th gear, 200 kilometers per hour. Make that 212 kilometers per hour. Heading towards the line now, and Hendrik Viol crosses the timing line with an improvement. And he stays P4, but it was an improvement for himself, Nico.
Indeed, and he moved up from the 3rd to the 2nd row. So he's P4 overall, if I didn't miss that. We've got a yellow flag at turn 12. Now, obviously, with 20 seconds remaining, that means whoever has to navigate that spot, he's going to be handicapped.
It's red
and
now.
there is red, and that's the end of the session. Nobody's going to improve, and that means wherever you are, you stay. Philip Barron just missing the cut in P7, and indeed we've got Hendrik Viol into the Super Pole, because obviously 15 seconds, there is no point in restarting this. So this is going to be our final result.
It's a remarkable result. Giacomo Altoe, P1. Luca Ludwig, P2. Dylan Medler, P3. Hendrik Viol, a Trofeo Pirelli Am driver, P4. Ben Valent, P5. Luigi Coluccio, P6. Those drivers will be in the Super Pole contest. And there were lots and lots of other drivers that threatened to be in there, but at the end of the day, the 6 that have made it, Altoe, Ludwig, Medler, Viol, Valent, and Coluccio.
I have to say,
Go on.
if I could have a Super Pole format for each of the Ferrari Challenge events, I would immediately subscribe for it. Amazing drama every step of the way.
Yes. And the place is being traded with regular abandon.
Absolutely. I mean, it really, really lends itself to some drama, and while the drivers don't care about the drama as much, we certainly do.
We love the theatre of it. And the dramatics.
Absolutely. Giacomo Altoe, Luca Ludwig, Dylan Medler, Hendrik Viol, Ben Valent, Luigi Coluccio. It's only a bit more than an hour until that Super Pole is supposed to happen. Before then, we will have the Super Pole for Copper Shell Am and the Super Pole for the Copper Shell. So there is more drama coming your way.
Indeed so. The value that we bring you is immense, is it not? There is Dylan Medler driving for the collection, 3rd fastest overall. Well done, Dylan Medler. He's had a stellar season. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, Nico, the Super Pole sessions are about 45 minutes away from getting underway.
Indeed, 4 p.m. is when they are scheduled. Obviously, we had some delays, so we will confirm that. But stay tuned. If you're listening and watching here on the stream, then that's where you will find us.
So all lights red at the top of the lighting gantry, as you can see. That session is completed. Giacomo Altoe, 1:52.009 was the time that was unbeaten by anyone. Only 9 100ths between Giacomo Altoe and Luca Ludwig. Absolutely remarkable stuff. And yeah, a very, very enjoyable qualifying session. And here's the classification then. Giacomo Altoe, P1, Luca Ludwig, P2, Dylan Medler, P3, Hendrik Viol, mixing it with the Pirelli drivers, the best of the Pirelli AMs, P4 overall, then Ben Valent, Luigi Coluccio. Those 6 will be in Super Pole. Then it was Philip Barron, Marco Zanazzi, Matthias Perez Companc, and Klaus Sebranson. Ahead of Roberto Perina, Danilo Del Favero, Andrew Morrow, Axel Sardigan, David Gosner, Angelo Fontana, Max Mugelli, James Owen, Herbert Guys. And then it was Brian Cook, our Trofeo Pirelli AM champion for North America, Andreas Berg Sorensen, Jason McCarthy, Jay Logan, Tony Davis, Frank Szczesniak, Otto Blank, Gianmarco Marzioletti, and Sebastian Mascaro. And that's not all of them, because Ofer Levy, Kim Eriksson, Hanno Luskowski, David Akabadze, Armin Arafpor, and 2 non-classifications from Chris Cagnazzi and Cyril Choksi. From Nico and from myself, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you for Super Pole. Plenty going on just behind them as we head into turn number 1. Something of a pinch point. Max Mugelli trying to make a move early on. Very, very good start, I believe, as we go through turn number 1 right now.